Okay, Neil says, thanks, Mr. Garmin. Hey, Mr. Garmin, I've answered that question. Okay, Richard, he doesn't say what GPS unit he got. Loves our podcast. Thanks, Richard, and keep listening to our podcast. He says he especially likes Andy's top tips on the podcast, which I know go down quite well. So he says, have you got any top tips to bring to this environment, which is our live GPS clinic? So have you got any top tips we do with Garmin and sat up? Are you off the top of your head or not? You know, I mean, to put you under pressure, you know.
I'll do a sat map tip first. It's along the lines of something we've already been asked tonight, so you've given me a clue of what to ask, but it is quite a popular thing that happens on any of the sat map units. So whether it be the Active 20, the new one, the Active 10 or the Active 12, you've got the map page up, you see yourself moving across the map. What can happen if you accidentally nudge the joystick or the joypad on the new Active 20, your map, instead of saying GPS map at the top, will say planning because you've moved the joystick. Your map will now not move as you walk. I get so many calls from customers saying, sometimes when they're out and about in the field, and they'll ring me and say, Andy, I'm out with my GPS and I think there's something wrong. I think it's got no satellite signal because the map's not moving. And what's happened is they've moved the cursor on their Active 20 by using the joystick, or the Active 12 or Active 10. The map will then stay stationary until you press the button directly to the left of the joystick, and that takes it back to the GPS map. It's the same on a similar thing on a Garmin unit. We touched on it earlier about the gentleman who asked about his cursor not moving on the GPS. All of the Garmin units, on the touchscreen units, you can move your finger across the screen, move the map to a different location. Now, as soon as you do that, the map will then stay stationary. And what you'll normally see on a Garmin touchscreen unit, where you should see a little white cross in the bottom left of the map page, you now see a little curly back arrow. So if you're seeing a little curly back arrow in the bottom left of your map page on a Garmin touchscreen GPS, it means you've moved the map and it will stay stationary until you touch that little curly back arrow in the bottom left of the touchscreen. On the push button Garmin units, if you happen to move the joystick, or like on the eTrex 30 on the Map 64, it's just a case if you think the map's not moving because you've done that and you've moved it further ahead, you just press the quit button on either of the push button units on the Garmin range, and that'll take the map back to where you are. So that was off the cuff there.
Off the cuff top tips there. I hope you found that okay. It's what we live for, isn't it?